At the very dawn of arcade games in 1980, Stern released their robot-blasting maze runner, Berzerk, into the world. Sinister synthetic enemies and an invincible evil bouncing smiley face, coupled with the first ever speech synthesis in a video game, led to commercial success and a lasting legacy for arcade fans. And now, in 2024, New Wave Toys has released its 1/6 scale version of that original cabinet. And we'll take a closer look right after this. This video supported in part by...
Playing VR, I tend to sweat. It gives me an edge. So King of Nerds happens to give me an edge too. Let King of Nerds give you the edge. Bye, King of Nerds.
Hey there, welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I'm John, and I am a GenXGrownUp. Thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video. If you were lucky enough to frequent arcades in the early 80s, then the sight of a Berzerk cabinet will no doubt bring back some good memories. Being so early and so popular, I can hardly remember visiting an arcade that didn't have at least one Berzerk. And that's in large part why this RepliCade release from New Wave Toys is so welcomed. So let's head over to the table and take a closer look. I know you're not here to see this cardboard box, but New Wave puts a little effort into this shipping container box, so I have to take just a second to recognize their efforts. And this, by the way, isn't the box that it shipped in. There's yet another box, kind of a more generic cardboard box. This is the internal shipping box that all of their RepliCades come in, and they're designed to be part of the experience. It starts here. This is representative of a shipping box you would have seen an original arcade cabinet in. Look, it's got information about but do not fork this side, right? If you're going to haul this around, like it's not only, a 1.5 feet tall. But it has Berzerk, it has Atari. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a while. So yeah, let's get into this one. I went ahead and pulled the shrink wrap off to avoid the glare. One quick look at the box and what it promises. So here's that very iconic cabinet. A few call outs. We see here the new PCB action, which we'll take a look at when we get it out of the box. Around the side, it talks about, it plays both Berzerk and Frenzy, and it has real coin op action. So those little tokens are no longer just decorative. Look, you don't have to do that. It's just another way that New Wave continues to make these 6th scale cabinets more like the original, which I so much appreciate. They also call out this bonus original XL joystick, which is different than the one that is in the artwork up here, the red ball top. So we shall see what that's about. Here's a look at everything unpacked and laid out. And I tell you, New Wave continues to add peripherals and gizmos and doodads to add on to your cabinet. So of course we have the cabinet, but look at all this extra paraphernalia. Starting with the most obvious and pedestrian, we have a USB-C charging or power cable here, which is nice to have. We have a manual, of course. Now this manual is a very brief manual. Whoa! Big black bat top joystick. Just do not use it. Well, why'd you give it to me? So here's the manual, and it's really just a page of instructions. The rest is just a page and a half. The rest is just other languages, and in fact, you should note there's an actual typo here where the insert coin button is, but we'll show you where that is in a minute. And you know what? It's been a while since I threw away instructions. Let's do it. We've got this diamond plate kickboard that you can put on. It's got 3M adhesive on the back, and you can put it on across the bottom of the cabinet. We'll do that in a second, although there's something kind of in the way, but they planned for that. We've got our teensy-weensy RepliCade tokens, which actually work in those little coin slots now. As with many of the new RepliCades, here's this fake power cord. If you want to have a simulated power cord hanging off the back, there's even a place to plug it in. We'll show you that in a minute. And how about this locking coin door security bar? If your arcade was in a seedy part of town, you might have seen these on your arcade cabinets, preventing nefarious kids from breaking in and taking all the quarters. And then finally, in this little Ziploc bag, we have the big black bat top joystick, also not for display, just like in the manual. Reminds me of, was the Food Fight had the big banana stick that you put it on there, but you can't use it. I'm guessing it has to do with how much leverage you might use when you have a giant top on the stick like this, but I guess if you're only using it for display, that's nice, but I would never put this on here because I want to be able to play my Berzerk. Now you might notice some other stuff in here with this joystick. Yeah, let me show you what that's about. These are all little additional or additive stickers you can put on the cabinet if you choose to, with the Atari logo on there. Well, why? Well, Berzerk was originally manufactured and distributed by Stern Electronics, not Atari. It wasn't until last year that Atari acquired the rights to Stern, including Berzerk and Frenzy. Berzerk and Frenzy were really the reason that Atari sought out the Stern licensing. But when they first showed the prototype artwork of these Berzerk and Frenzy cabinets, they had the Atari logo replacing Stern. And people just went bananas. They're like, that's not accurate, that's not right. And for a company that strives to do accuracy, I guess kind of, they're right and wrong. They did not get the rights from Stern. Stern does not own Berzerk, but if you're going to do a throwback cabinet and you change the logo, well, something's got to change here. So what they did, they opted to leave the logos off of the cabinet, and you can leave them blank. You can put these on there if you want, or as you can do already, go and download Stern logos and stick on there. Now, New Wave's not going to provide those, but you could add them and put them on your cabinet. As for me, I'm a little torn on this whole point. Yes, if you want a genuine cabinet, you want the Stern logo on it. But had Atari not purchased Stern, Berzerk and Frenzy would still be languishing in obscurity with no path to distribution. So Atari saved Berzerk from obscurity. Having their logo here is entirely appropriate. Is it accurate? Maybe not, but at least New Wave recognized maybe fans would be put off by the Atari logo on there, so it's up to you what you choose to do, and having choice is never a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. All right, that'll do it for the extras. Let's turn to the main event, and this is the cabinet. Just at a glance, it makes me smile. It's just, what it is about it, I think, is, of course, the accuracy, but the thing that always grabbed me about the Berzerk cabinet is the side of it looked like a chalkboard almost. It's this flat black with this just two-tone red and blue on the side. And I always thought that looked like the arcade owner drew it on there. Of course they didn't, but where so many other cabinets just had this nice slick painted decal in full color, the stark appearance of a Berzerk cabinet always grabbed me. And I mean, it's replicated here. RepliCade, get it? Very, very well. There's a lot more to look at. Why don't we start around the back though? Up top, you have a power on-off switch, you have the charging or power on indicator, and then you have a volume wheel, and then some vents in the back just to replicate the cabinet display, and then a caution decal here. Be careful when opening this thing. All part of that, this is a real arcade cabinet illusion. Just below that, we have the single mono rear firing speaker that is amplified, and it has a little simulated latch and lock on it here, as if it's some kind of access port that you don't want the arcade goers to get into. And then down here at the bottom, you have another typical warning placard to add to the authenticity, and then this panel where all the business actually takes place. So this power port isn't really for power, it's where you put the fake power plug if you want to have a cord hanging out of the back of it for authenticity. Doesn't do anything. Then you have two USB ports because yes, you can plug in your own USB controllers to play if you don't want to use the control deck around front. Up to you. We have a USB-C charging port and an HDMI out. So just like other recent RepliCades from New Wave, you can plug this into a monitor. It will turn off the interior monitor, but then you can play this on a television. So effectively, this could become a Berzerk console. Plug in your own controller, plug it into a TV, up to you. So you have that function. Again, options are great to have. It's up to you how you'd like to use it. Coming around the front then, let's start at the top and work our way down. Here is that backlit marquee, has the Berzerk logo on it. And though these are lit with LEDs these days, they have the right kind of diffusion that I don't see any hot spots at all. I mean, I think it looks great. As we work our way down to the screen though, let's peek up underneath the top of the cabinet where there's a replica of the downward firing speaker that is in regular Berzerk cabinets. It's not a real speaker, it just has a grill there, so it's authentic. And then of course we come down here to this screen first. Beautiful bezel all the way around the screen. You have the border inside of there, 4x3 horizontal aspect screen. And between Numbskull and New Wave iterating on these things, I think they have perfected this CRT lens that is over the screen. Not too much glare, not too much distortion, but it adds just a little bit of shape to what would otherwise be a flat LCD screen. and it gives the impression of a little bit of a CRT. And I'm happy with what they've done here. I think they hit the sweet spot. We're finally there. These lenses are now truly an additive rather than something that can be a bit divisive. Moving down here to the control panel then, metal control panel, just a thin plate atop the wood construction. 2 fire buttons, fire button here and here. They are very, very short throw fire buttons. They're almost, they're clicky, but they are so short. I mean, the throw is there. Maybe you can see that. It's very small. So really, you're not pressing it down with your finger, you're pressing into it with the pad of your finger is what you're doing. I think it's gonna work, but I do wish it was a little bit taller. It's just me. Just me, maybe. We'll see. Joystick is a micro switch, red ball top joystick. Now you can screw that off and put the, let's try it. Let's screw this off and then put on the bat top and see. Yeah, it's bigger, but they say don't play with it like that. Again, I expect it's probably because you could apply so much force, the leverage you would have over it, but yeah, okay, I'll put the ball top back on. What good is it if I can't use it? It's just for looks? Yeah. Other than that, not much else. There's a player 1, player 2 start, of course, and over here, you see a little red spot? That's one of the spaces that could be an Atari logo, would have been a Stern logo, or you can just leave it blank. It's up to you. I think there's one up on the marquee. Maybe there's a replacement for this one. Yeah, up to you what you do with those. I'm just going to leave it blank. I don't care that much about whose logo's on it. And finally, let's come down here to this knee board where probably the most new and interesting stuff is happening on this Berzerk cabinet. And for starters, you have the coin door here. This is a metal coin door. And then you have that lock that we had in the extra stuff that you can magnetically just stick right on there. And it looks like a locking mechanism, the bar that would have been on there to keep people from breaking into the box and stealing all the coins or tokens or whatever out of there. Now, you'll be pleased to see how this coin door works, because not only can you put a coin in the slot, but when you do, it will actually be adding a credit. Let me show you. On this left side only, you can see this one is blocked, you can actually put coins into the coin slot. There's another one, there's a third, and there's the fourth one. In it goes. All right, so it's now in here. So we can open up this metal coin door. I use a little tool because my fingers aren't that little. Yeah, and so we have a coin box in here. And that's where all of our coins are gathered. So finally a way to put coins in the machine and take them out of there. I think this might have been in the most recent couple machines, but it's all come together here on this Berzerk cabinet. And before I show you what's inside of this little door, down here on the bottom is where the kick plate goes, this little diamond plate. And I think it looks good down there, so I'm gonna go ahead and put mine on. Yeah, just another cool little detail. So I've been saving this little door for last. This is, I think, the newest innovation that a New Wave has been putting into these RepliCades. It's so geeky, it's so useless, and I love it so much. So check this out. Pop that open, and in here we have the Berzerk PCB. Comes out all the way. Look, is there any reason to have this? No. Does it do anything other than look cool? No. Yeah. And once you've shown it off, it just slides right back into the cabinet. And so with my diamond plate kickboard in place, my security bar, my token safe inside of the metal coin door, my PCB back inside, and a little sticker taken off, nothing left now but to play some Berzerk and Frenzy. If you're a Berzerk fan like me, then I think you'll find some designs you'll appreciate over in our merch store. When you visit GenXGrownUp.com/merch, you'll find shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, and more with designs from just about any nerdy fandom you might enjoy, including some designs with some very familiar robots on them. And every purchase not only gets you something cool, but helps to support the next GenXGrownUp video, just like this one. Okay, let's go play some Berzerk. I've adjusted the lighting here to maximize visibility of the screen. That's why this bezel is so dark, but let's power it on. New Wave toys, RepliCade amusements. They're licensed from Atari. Thanks for buying this, Atari. Helped us out. A few beeps as that ROM boots up. And here we are. Got some high scores on there. There's a quick one that I did. A Quick thing you might notice is that the Atari branding is on here. It doesn't say Stern. So let's insert some coins. That's done with the tiny silver button on the front of the machine. So I've got 5, 6 credits in there. And I'm going to hit start. And we're going. All the speech synthesis is here, of course. I mean, it's the original arcade ROM. Well, I say original, except it's actually been rebranded Atari. As you might have seen on that opening screen. Here comes Evil Otto, so I'm going to go ahead and be a chicken. Now they start shooting back. Yeah, that very shallow throw fire button works. But I mean, you can feel it. You can feel that it's... Ooh, ouch. You can feel that it's very shallow. You do have to press pretty hard on it to make sure that you're kind of pushing down into the button. Ouch! Now, of course, it wouldn't be Berzerk without the ability to put in your initials for the high score. And yeah, that is saved internally, so your high score is going to be there. High-pitched. There's quite a variety of sound samples here stood around the Berzerk cabinet. And it would make noise at you when you weren't even playing. Coin detected in pocket, cool stuff like that.
Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Now in Berzerk, Evil Otto, he is not killable. Frenzy, different story. Now I know if I kill all the robots, I get a bonus, but Otto's in the way. He's preventing me from getting that done. I appreciate there's friendly fire in Berzerk too. Robots can kill one another. It's just fair, you know? Oh, I got shot. Yeah, you got me. What did this humanoid ever do to you? Run the walls. Yeah, it's fair because they can die the same way you can die, which I always appreciated. The warning wall there. You know, if there's anything to complain about in this genuine arcade ROM, it's that it's been modified on the main screen to show Atari rather than Stern. And that's, again, that goes back to that detail about how you feel about the license having changed hands. Let's drop into the menu and show you the options that are available. If you hold down the Player 1 and Player 2, yeah, so you have some options in here. You can turn the marquee on or off. I currently have it off because it casts a little orange glow here. You can do the brightness of the screen. You can adjust that up and down. Where do you want it? I turn mine all the way up because I like it nice and bright. Scan lines on or off, we'll turn them on just for fun. There's a Player 1, Player 2 switch in here, which is related to if you have your own controller plugged in. So the first player and second player can be on different controllers if you're providing your own. Now, if you're just standing in front of the cabinet, you don't need that. They thought about just about everything. You want the replicated track mode on, so it's going to cycle on or off. This is a dip switches for the game when you want the bonus life to happen. Shows your battery. And up here, you can change from Berzerk to Frenzy if you want to. Now, if you just exit out and don't change the game, it's like a pause. You're right back where you left off. It hasn't reset the game. But if we do drop out and switch over to Frenzy, it's going to reboot the cabinet for us, and it's going to come up with Frenzy. Here we go again, rebranded with Atari instead of Stern. We bold up there. Down here it says 82 through 2023. I've already seen online people talking about making their own custom ROM images if they can find a way to upload them to replace these. I get it. I'm not that picky, but I do get it. If you've never played Frenzy, it's just kind of an evolution of Berzerk. Put in a coin, and let's start. First and foremost, you have destroyable walls, so you can shoot through them. Also, your bullets will ricochet, so you have to be careful. See that solid wall? Those things will ricochet off of there. But shooting through the walls is really useful. And you can get, of course, enemies to shoot one another. Some of them are smarter than they used to be. And Evil Otto is no longer totally invincible. But you have to shoot him several times for it to make a difference. So let's see if we can't get him once. Get these guys up here. I gotta be careful, see those ricocheting bullets. Be bad news if you're not careful. You can shoot through there. Alright, Evil Otto. Get a little farther from him. Got him! Yep, so we destroyed Evil Otto. But he comes back faster, and then he's going to get me. Just like with Berzerk, yes, you can put your high score initials in there, and yes, they do persist with the internal battery backup. I think this is the first Frenzy game I played. Not too bad, 1900. Let's switch back to Berzerk for one more quick play. Aside from that rebranding, I mean, these are the original arcade ROMs that include all the speech synthesis, all the behavior, all the little idiosyncrasies and nuances. So if you're expecting to play something like Berzerk, bad news, it's exactly Berzerk. There have been plenty of ports, nothing wrong with ports, but this is, albeit text modified, the real McCoy.
Get the humanoid. Intruder alert, intruder alert.
What I appreciate so much about New Wave Toys and their line of RepliCades is that they don't just rinse and repeat for every new license they acquire, but they keep trying to innovate and add novel little touches to bring your tiny arcade ever closer to the real thing. In the case of this Berzerk cabinet, we see that in the evolution of the coin mechanism, the add-on kick plate, and of course, that very cool removable PCB that serves no practical purpose other than to make me grin. And you have to appreciate how they handled the stern Atari debate. Rather than stand firm on their initial rebranding, they removed the branding entirely and left it up to the collector. I'm always an advocate of companies listening to their fans and adjusting products accordingly. So in the case of this Berzerk RepliCade from New Wave Toys, I'm going to give it 4.5 tokens out of 5. Aside from the very short throw on the control panel buttons, I don't have many complaints about what has been delivered here. And if you're at all a fan of Berzerk in particular, or early 80s arcades in general, and have the dough to drop, then this scale cabinet will be a welcome addition to your collection. I'm going to throw some links to more reviews of RepliCades we've done over my shoulders here and here. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I cannot wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.
Destroy it. Kill the humanoid.